Today, we're going to explore something a little different. Not a building, not a city, but an internal world. We're going to try and understand the blueprint for what we're calling the architecture of solitude.
So let's start with a question that, a lot of us have probably thought about. Why do some people seem to have, well, no friends? It's something society tends to look at as a big red flag, right? Like there must be something wrong with them. There's this huge stigma around it.
But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? The whole idea behind this explainer comes from this really powerful concept. It's not always an accident. It's often a result of valuing truth over belonging. And just like that, this stops being a story about social failure and becomes a story about a choice, a really fundamental choice.
So, yeah, this is the foundation of everything we're about to talk about. This idea that for some, personal truth is more important than fitting in with a group. It means solitude isn't just this empty void. It's something that's been built piece by piece on purpose.
Okay, so how does someone even start building this kind of internal architecture? Well, it all kicks off with how they see the world. The first couple of traits we're going to look at are all about having this incredibly sharp, almost high-definition lens on social situations.
The first trait is what you might call hyper self-awareness, and this is way more than just feeling a little awkward at a party. We're talking about a constant internal narrator who's analyzing everything. Replaying a 5-minute chat, not because you're worried you said the wrong thing, but because you're genuinely dissecting your own motives, your word choice, your feelings. It's like you've got this powerful microscope pointed at yourself 24/7.
Now, take that intense inward focus and pair it with an equally sharp outward focus. That's trait 2, high social perception. This is the knack for seeing what's happening behind the words. It's catching that tiny flicker of an expression, hearing the microscopic hesitation in someone's voice, and just feeling the disconnect between what they say and what they mean. It's almost like having social subtitles that nobody else can see. And this is a perfect example of how that works. Someone says, "I'm fine, really?" But you see that split second of sadness in their eyes. Or you're in a meeting and everyone's nodding along, but you notice that one person whose body language is just screaming, "I don't agree with this at all." When you see the world with that kind of clarity, all the small talk and the little white lies, it just becomes noise. It's really, really hard to pretend you don't see it. So if you're perceiving the world that way, it kind of naturally leads you to build a different internal foundation, one that's incredibly self-reliant. Which brings us to trait number 3, emotional self-reliance. Think of it like being your own emotional support system. A lot of people need to talk out their feelings to even understand what they're feeling. But this person, they process internally. They can sit with their own sadness, their own joy, their own anger, and figure it out on their own. They don't need someone else to say, "It's okay to feel that way." They find the answer inside. And this next one, trait 4, brings us right back to that core idea of truth over belonging. It's low social conformity. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you're emotionally self-sufficient and you can see right through all the social games, then that pressure to just fit in starts to fade away. Your sense of who you are isn't tied to what the group thinks of you. And this isn't about being a rebel just for the sake of it. It's a process. You see what the group is doing or saying, you check in with your own internal compass, you spot a difference, and then you make a conscious choice to stick with your own truth. It's a quiet but incredibly strong act of integrity. All right, so we have this sharp perception and this independent core. Now it's time for the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the most misunderstood trait of all. This is what really completes the picture of the solitude architect. The 5th trait is often described as a struggle with emotional reciprocity. That just sounds like a weakness, doesn't it? But a better way to think about it is operating on a different emotional frequency. It's not that they can't feel things deeply. Oh, they absolutely do. It's that they have an aversion to performing those feelings for an audience, which is what our society so often expects. The feelings are deep, but the processing is private. And this comparison makes it so clear. The normal social script is, you feel something, you immediately call a friend, you share it, you connect over it, you get validation. For this person, the script is totally different. They feel something, they go inward, they reflect on it, they really understand it. And then, maybe they'll share the final conclusion, not the raw, messy emotion itself. You can see how this would be confusing in friendships that are built on that constant back and forth of feelings. It can make someone seem distant when really they're just processing. So, here they are. All 5 pillars holding up this architecture. hyper self-awareness, high social perception, emotional self-reliance, low social conformity, and this deep, private emotional processing. You can really see how they all lock into place, can't you? Each one just reinforces the others.
And I think this is the most important takeaway from all of this. These traits are not bugs. They're not flaws in the system. They are the actual building blocks for a life that is first and foremost authentic and self-directed. It's just a different blueprint for how to live, and it's a completely valid one. Which leaves us with one last pretty big question to think about. When you look at this whole structure, is this life of solitude the price you have to pay for being so authentic? Or is the solitude actually the reward itself, something to chew on?